Good afternoon. Yeah, I don't have an opening statement. We're excited and ready to go for this training camp.
Mickey,
Questions?
Could you explain putting Mike Thomas on the physically unable to perform list, the decision-making that went into that?
Yeah, look, I don't expect him to be on there very long, but just not quite ready to be full go yet. So, but I don't anticipate him being on that list for very long.
Would you describe this as a setback?
No, not at all.
Mickey, do you envision what Dennis Allen can have the first season like Sean Payton? Boy, look at the expectation where we were after Katrina and then ending up in the NFC Championship game.
Yeah, let's go. Yeah, look, I think that for the last what is it now? 16 years, we've had high expectations virtually every season since '06, right? I think all of us would say we didn't have many expectations in '06, but after that, we've had high expectations, and I like that. I think Dennis likes that. Our team likes to have high expectations. And so we have high expectations for this year.
Mickey, you said you're excited about training camp. What do you enjoy the most this time of the year?
Yeah, good question. Man, I enjoy all of it, really. I enjoy, we got young guys trying to make their mark. We've got veteran players trying to, hang on. We've got guys that are, trying to reach new plateaus each year. And man, I love seeing people that work hard, that are great people, have success. And you can, this is sports, I think, are one of the industries where, you can see that and you can measure it, and then the rewards that come with that they're all exciting to see guys achieve their goals, and so I like that most about particularly about training camp, when guys are trying to improve, trying to make their mark, trying to establish their roles. So that's fun for me.
What have been some of the differences you've seen in maybe the way Dennis organizes things and how Sean?
Yeah, I don't know that I've gotten far enough along to and I haven't thought about, hey, what's different. Their personalities are a little different. But remember, Dennis has been part of this for, 12 of the last 16 years. So I think if you ask him, and you can in an hour here, he would say that a lot of what he does, he's taken from Sean Payton. So there's a lot of similarities, more similarities than differences at this point.
What stood out about Matt Ray's approaches so far in the conditioning and some of the different maybe ideas that he's brought?
Yeah, I think there's just some science that we haven't seen here before, and I think our guys in particular have taken to it.
And just what about that science was appealing to you guys as a team?
Yeah, I think, look, you're always looking for something new and to create an edge, and that has some demonstrated success, and we saw that with the success he's had at the college programs he's been with, and so we're hoping that transfers to the NFL.
Mickey, what do you guys like about the veteran running back you just signed in Malcolm Brown?
Yeah, look, he's had success in our league. We had great evaluations on him, coming out, and he's an experienced veteran player that looked good in his workout, and we'll give him an opportunity.
And with that running back room, has there been any updates on Alvin Kamara's situation?
No, there's nothing new at this point.
Does he have to be excused next week to go to it?
Yeah, I don't know that we have an answer for that yet. I don't think he has the answer for that yet.
Was signing Malcolm Brown because of the uncertainty in that room?
No, I think that, look, we're just looking for, competition. Here's a veteran player who's a good player. We have good evaluations on, and wasn't the only guy we signed today. We signed an offensive lineman, and we signed, I guess we signed the offensive lineman yesterday, technically, but we have an offensive lineman and a defensive end as well. So we're always trying to, improve the roster, and this is part of it.
Mickey, every player that was not already announced on the PUP list the other day, that means they're good to go. Everyone else is.
No, I think we're going to have. Look, Marcus Davenport's going to go on that list. Mike Thomas is on there, and Rashid Shaheen is going to be on there. I don't anticipate those guys being on there for a long time, but they'll be on there. We had 2 guys that were non-football illness today, not injury, that were just sick and couldn't participate, so they won't be long for that list either.
And can you characterize Thomas in any way? I know you don't want to put a date on it, but a lot of people are wondering, oh no, he's still not ready.
He'll be off that list soon. That's my anticipation.
Taysom
Well,
Mills,
that's what I anticipate.
Taysom Mills ready to practice?
Who?
Taysom?
Taysom's ready to go, yes. Marcus May, ready to go, yes.
Did everyone else report today that was expected to be here?
Yes.
So to clarify on Kamara, you guys don't know if he's going to make an in-person appearance at court or not?
I don't know, no.
Mickey, I guess you always want to have more players, but looking at the totality of the offseason, how do you feel about addressing your primary
Yeah.
needs coming out of last season?
Yeah, I think, I've said this before, every year we go into the process of the off-season with musts, needs, wants, and I think we did a good job of certainly filling the musts and the needs. Some of the wants, maybe we didn't quite get there, but yeah, I think I feel good about the competition that we'll have and hopefully the end result at each position.
Mickey, what are your expectations for Peyton Turner, first round in 2021? You've always said in the past, you almost have to go back to meet you in
Yeah.
like 4 years, whatever. You appeared in just 5 games, but I was looking, 3 tackles for loss and a sack in his first NFL game. So you can see the skill set there, but what are your expectations now?
Yeah, look, I would say we have high expectations for him, and yet we recognize that, listen, he had some, injury issues last year, and hopefully that's he's overcome that. He looks good. He's had a good offseason, I think, and then, but we have high expectations for him, and, yeah, I think oftentimes what our expectation is that second year you're going to see a jump. And we had that with Cam Jordan, if you remember. We've had that with a number of players over the years. So I think our expectations for year 2 are generally higher than they are for year 1.
Would you say the same thing for Pete Werner, who's now basically he's going to be one of your stars?
Yeah, I think the same thing. I think, listen, I would say that we saw some market improvement as the season went on last year because Pete was able to get on the field and play a lot of football for us. And so, we're excited about him and excited about the prospect and excited about his improvement going into year 2 as well. And remember that, look, there's, we've got guys that, are 3 years removed that haven't had a real offseason yet. Cesar Ruiz, this was his first one, right? Because of COVID and because of his rookie year. So there's some expectations on some of these guys that with a full offseason, with the experience that they've had with us, that we're going to see some jumps in performance.
Mickey, you mentioned with Marcus Davenport likely going on the PUP. What are you sort of waiting for in his rehab? I mean, it's obviously it's an unusual injury.
I think for him it's really more about just conditioning because he wasn't able to do some of the things in the strength and conditioning program that the other guys were able to do. So a lot of this is caution. It's we have these roster avenues to proceed slowly, and so in his case that is the case.
But as far as the injury shouldn't, once he's fully up to speed, shouldn't affect
No,
his performance,
again,
right?
this is more about his physical condition than it is about the specific injury or injuries that he's had.
Mickey, what was your comfort level with Jameis coming off that injury? Like when you're signing that extension,
Yeah.
has he kind of met
Yep.
or even exceeded kind of what you were hoping to see?
Yeah, I think he's hit all the benchmarks, and we feel good about where he's at physically. And look, we're going to proceed with caution with him, but he's going to be out there practicing, and we'll monitor the reps. But I feel we feel good about where he's at with his knee.
Do you think it's maybe easier for a player like him to make growth in the system during training camp when he feels confident about his spot as opposed to maybe battling, not afraid to make mistakes, things like that?
Yeah, I think look, that's better a question for him. But yes, I would say that look, when you know your role, regardless of what it is, and you can focus on what your role is, then and that you're comfortable with that, then obviously you can get more comfortable and improve, based upon
Mickey,
that.
all the backup quarterbacks that you've dealt with, and you look at Andy Dalton, like 160 starts, and just watching him at OTAs and minicamps, it seems like he's been here like 4 or 5
Yeah.
years, not just this offseason.
Yeah.
Where does he rate, like, when you look at all the backup quarterbacks?
Yeah, well, look, you remember we had Mark Brunell, and so, man, that's a security blanket. When you have someone that's been in that fire and isn't going to get rattled, isn't going to get, shook up by any circumstance. He's seen everything. He's been in everything. And look, when you have that guy, he's such a great help for the starter. And look, I'm confident we can win a lot of games with Andy Dalton if something happens. And so, yeah, it's a real good security blanket to have when you have an experienced backup player that has been a starter in our league and been successful.
Mickey, when you were roster building this offseason,
When we were?
yeah, the whole group,
Yeah.
the whole collaborative effort, you were, how much did you take into account timeline, like the maturation of your roster?
Yeah.
How much did that go into effect with this team? It seems like a veteran team.
Yeah, look, I think you pay attention to it in the sense of, okay, Pete Werner's a good example. You pencil him in as a starter, and we know a lot of things about him, and yet we have an expectation that there's going to be some improvement, and your confidence in that is, based upon your experience with a particular player. So, yeah, that's part of the equation, certainly.
Well, what I meant, I probably didn't word that very well.
Yeah, you didn't.
Is this roster built to win now? You hear that a lot.
Well,
That's,
yeah, good question. Yeah, I think we can. I think our team feels confident in our ability, but there's so many variables that go into a season. But yeah, we're not a rebuild. This isn't a rebuild. I guess is the best way to describe it. So, yeah, we think we can win now.
Mickey, looking at a lot of the history of the Saints, even before you, it just seems like I've never heard the fans be more optimistic about the cornerback room. That we might have the best group of cornerbacks in Saints history from top to bottom.
Good. Yeah, good. Listen, again, we like our group. We like, Paulson was, a great surprise. Sort of surprise. I guess the surprise was that he performed so well so early. Yeah, I think we all saw talent. And having Bradley Roby and him wanting to be back and be part of this, and Marshawn's development, and there's some other guys that we kind of like that are under the radar. So, yeah, I think it's a good room. I think we have a lot of guys there that can play and play good football for us. I don't know about history and look, I can recall some good corners here. Eric Allen, right?
Yeah, but I'm talking the whole group.
Alex Molden. There were some guys that were good players back in the day that, and I'm sure there's more. I'm just throwing a couple names out that I vaguely remember. Do you remember the guys you played with? You're saying they were no good?
They were good.
They were playing behind the goal patrol. They were overachieving.
Yep, I got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we've got a good group and a talented group, yes.
Mickey, speaking of Marshawn, I think we probably take him for granted a little bit, but when you signed him to that deal, how gratifying was it?
Well, we signed him to a deal that didn't take him for granted.
Yeah, how gratifying was it to see him having, one of the best seasons, if not the best he's had yet? You kind of had a recent track record of that, but I mean, to see him take that next step.
Yeah, look, it's always a concern that when someone gets a contract, do they exhale and maybe relax a little bit and their performance dips. But look, we've had a lot of guys respond really well when they've gotten contracts, and that speaks to their character. And again, that speaks to the evaluations that our scouting staff do in terms of character and what's important in terms of motivation. So, yeah.
If you lose a player like Marcus Williams, now you have Marcus May, it seems like it's a win-win, both situations. Obviously with the Achilles injury.
Yep.
But then the depth there, you have to be pleased how well P.J. Williams has excelled at that safety position.
Yeah, it's good to have players that are versatile, that can fill multiple roles. And I'm anxious to see Marcus. He's coming off that injury. He's ready to go. We'll be smart and cautious with him as we go along. But it was tough to lose Marcus Williams. It's tough to lose somebody you draft who performs well, and like I've said in the past, sometimes you have to make choices relative to the resources that you have. But it's good to have him and Tyron, obviously, to fill the roles that Malcolm and Marcus did for us so well in the past.
Do you guys see Alontae Taylor as someone that can play inside, outside? Do you guys
Yeah, I think we're going to find that out here as we go along in camp.
Will Lutz, having him come back, because
Yeah.
it was revolving door early in the
Yep.
year. The consistency that he had as a kicker was
Yeah.
tremendous. Everything okay off-season wise, ready to go.
Yep. Yes. And it is. You're right. Look, it's just unexpected when your kicker gets hurt, and then you have an expectation he's going to be back after a few weeks, and then there's a setback, and then out all year. That's a tough deal to handle on the fly, which is kind of what we did. So it's good to have him back and feeling good and ready to get back to a stellar career that he's had to date.
Mickey, for so long, the team's personality seemed to start with Sean's offense, especially with Drew running
Yep.
it. Not just because Dennis has taken over, but has the defense kind of become more of the personality of this team just because it's gotten so good recently?
Yeah, well, I would say, first of all, I think for the past 16 years, 15 years, whatever it's been, the whole team has taken on the personality of Sean Payton, and that's been a good thing. And, I think that your teams do take on the personality of your head coach, and so we'll see how that evolves. And Dennis's personality is different. But in terms of being aggressive and playing to win, all those kinds of things, I don't expect that to change, but we'll see how that evolves.
How would you describe Dennis's personality?
Man, he's I would say he's a grinder. He's set jaw. He's a little bit of an old school soul, tough-minded. Maybe a little more conservative. We'll see, as he takes the head coach role. But yeah, I'm anxious to see how that goes.
Just as much as you guys want to kind of emphasize continuity this offseason, how important was it for you to get Pete back in this play calling role?
Yeah, that was important. I saw something recently that talked about his success as a coordinator over the years, and he's got a remarkable resume for the last 16 years. The number of times that we finished first and second, and I don't think he's ever gotten enough credit for his role in our offense, and hopefully he does. I mean, look, the year he called when Sean was out, and he called all the plays and ran the offense without Sean. We were second in the league, and it just speaks to his ability, and so it was really important for us to retain him.
Mickey, since Coach Payton's Sean's still on the contract, and are you expecting, is that a measuring stick maybe to get the calls that the Raiders were able to get from the Bucs with John Gruden? Is that a measuring stick? How do you work that out, that to say when he's still on the contract, another team wants Sean?
Yeah, I haven't really thought about that much because I don't think Fox Sports is going to give us anything for Sean. So, look, when the time comes, we'll deal with that. But if there's something to deal with, but I haven't spent a lot of time thinking about that, Bobby. There's too many other things that we have to deal with. And it's not productive until there's something real out there. Yeah. What else?
For all of the continuity that's in the coaching staff right now, a new face like Cody Burns
Yeah.
who's joined, what stood out about him so far?
Yeah, look, his energy, he's it's a fresh set of eyes and great energy and just a new approach. And, yeah, I've been really pleased with him. We've got a core group of young assistants on our staff that people don't talk about or hear about, but, man, they're really sharp, good football minds, great motivation. There's man, I can see a lot of guys on our staff that I see great futures for, and Cody's one of them, certainly.
Kind of in that same vein, Bicknell, who came over from Cincinnati,
Yep.
his work with transitioning wide receivers from college to the pros, and now Chris Olave is going through the same transition. Was there any calculation there in terms of his ability?
No, I think we just saw an experienced, really good football mind that could work with Pete and help Pete, and has great synergy with him, and yeah, we're glad to have him as well. I'm glad you mentioned him. What else? Mike? Nobody? Doug, you got anything?
Nope.
Start going through the roster now.
Were you responsible for the black helmets?
I don't want to take credit for that, but I've been an advocate of a black helmet for quite some time, yeah. So I'm not taking credit for it, but, yeah, do you like them or you hate them?
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
So you asking if I am taking credit or blame? Which one are you asking? Credit. You like them? Who likes them? You like them?
The fans like it.
They do?
Yes.
Good. Yeah, I like them too. It's something a little different. Absolutely, yeah. Especially now that I know they like them. Look, and speaking of fans, listen, I hope that, Bobby, you said there's a lot of excitement around town about our team. Look, I hope that manifests itself with the attendance at training camp. We need a full field out here with fans, because that improves our practices. And I think especially with some of the new guys that we've got that aren't familiar with our fan base, that would be important. So I hope you guys encourage. I'm encouraging all of our fans to come out and be as loud as they normally are. So thank you all.
I don't know who you guys are talking about, but the fans fucking hate those.